For Dyslexia Awareness Month, I want to ask you one simple question. What would your life be like if dyslexia was easy? How would your life look if I took away every single challenge that was associated with dyslexia? What would it feel like if your work was no longer frustrating because of dyslexia? I want to convince you that that is completely possible, and we're going to start to show you how this month. Hey, I'm Natalie, and welcome to the Dyslexia in Adults podcast. I believe that dyslexia is holding you back in your career and impacting your daily life, and ultimately slowly chipping away at your confidence. And I just simply don't think that that is good enough. I don't care when you were diagnosed, if your boss is a total dick, or if, like me, you roll your eyes heavily when dyslexia is called a superpower. I know I can change how you feel about your brain. What I want you to understand is that when I was at school, people believed that my dyslexia wasn't going to be a problem. I was lucky enough to go to a school where they believed I could achieve things. No grade was impossible for me. And so when I came into my early 20s, finished university, started working, and realized no one had told me how to manage dyslexia at work. No one had explained to me what job I should do, what role would work well for me, how to handle the challenges that I was experiencing. Should I tell people that I was dyslexic or not? Simple things that could have made my life so much easier. No one had explained to me. And those challenges started to build up. The frustration started to build up. I was working so hard at every single job that I was becoming best friends with the cleaners every single role because I just didn't know what to do other than work hard, resulted in me feeling absolutely exhausted by the time the weekend came around. My brain was just soggy Weetabix by the time I was coming home from work. Listen, I worked in corporate for 10 years. I know exactly how frustrating dyslexia can be at work. I remember coming home crying to my boyfriend about the latest mistake that I made. I remember sitting there with red hot fear every single time I had a probation meeting because I truly had such deep imposter syndrome that I didn't believe I was ever going to pass it. And I remember every single time I went into my annual review and my boss saying to me, "Oh, could you just make sure you double check your work?" And thinking, if only you knew. If you had any idea of what I was really going through, you wouldn't dare say that to me. I cannot tell you every single time someone comes to me and talks to me about their dyslexia, tells me the latest challenge that they have going on. I have been there, I have experienced it, I have cried every tear that there is to cry over dyslexia, and I've had every frustration on feeling like my potential is being wasted. I knew there had to be a better way. I knew that there had to be a way of making it easier. I knew that if I continued in this trajectory, it was only going to get more frustrating, more exhausting, more irritating the longer that this was happening. And I was determined that I was not going to have my potential wasted. I really believed that dyslexia must have been easier. There must have been a way to deal with these challenges. And that's where Dyslexia in Adults started. That's that belief that why does it have to be this hard? There must be answers out there, is what drove me to one random November morning, open up my phone on the tube on the way into work and decide to create an Instagram account. I barely posted on my personal one, but that drive to believe that dyslexia should be easier than it currently was is what started researching, started posting about my experience, started to realize actually maybe I do have strengths and that there are things that I'm naturally good at. And that maybe all of the things that people say about dyslexic people being really valuable is true. But I just started slowly, bit by bit, piecing things together and thinking, oh, okay, well, that's a little bit easier now. Oh, okay, this is going a little bit better through learning about how my brain worked, through learning about what exactly we need for understanding our strengths and unlocking them, starting to realize the massive role that confidence was playing and how much I had chipped away like 1,000 paper cuts on my confidence. And now here we are, almost 5 years to the day that I started Dyslexia in Adults. And I never could have believed that dyslexia would feel like this. I truly thought I would be suffering for life, but now I have the strategies, the approaches, the ways of working that makes me know that dyslexia is easy. And before you even say, Natalie, it's because you have your own business, it's because you have a team, it's not. I could truly give up dyslexia in adults tomorrow and go work for a company and still feel exactly how I feel right now. And I know that because I've watched people take my ideas, take our approaches, take our ways of working, implement them in corporate jobs, and I still hear from them years later telling me how much better their lives are. So, what if dyslexia is easy? It's true. It is possible. So, let's talk about the problem. Have you ever been told anything about dyslexia, particularly in a workplace environment? Because I wasn't. Like, let's think about it for a second. I was diagnosed with dyslexia when I was age 6. I was lucky enough that my parents were incredibly supportive and poured a lot of effort into managing my dyslexia, but I didn't know even simple terms like working memory, or I didn't understand what exactly slow processing really meant and how to deal with it. Common things that dyslexic people are dealing with, no one had educated me on. No one had explained how to deal with. I had multiple dyslexic reports, 20 pages or more, which I never read. And if I had read, because I've read them now, don't provide any advice on how to manage this challenge. And let's take a moment and think about all of the negative comments that we have experienced as neurodiverse people. I'm lucky. I've got supportive parents. I went to a supportive school. I still had teachers telling me I was too thick to learn a foreign language, too thick to go to university, too thick to bother with large swathes of the things that I enjoy doing now. We have never, ever been educated on how our brain works, how to utilize it effectively, how to get the most out of the strengths. It's not about being an entrepreneur. That is not the reason why you're not seeing your dyslexic strengths. And if you actually figure out and understand your brain, you would be shocked at how easy dyslexia can be. Have you ever been to an amazing French patisserie? And they've got incredible flavors, and there's decorative work on it, and the cake is so delicious, you just want to buy another one. That's what I think dyslexia could be like. Okay, right now, you're doing a good job, things are going well, you're doing better than your teachers ever thought you could, but is that enough? Are you willing to deal with chain restaurant cake for the rest of your life? Or do you want French patisserie? Do you want to feel smart and capable and for things to be easy? Because that is what we want to teach you to achieve this Dyslexia Awareness Month. So basically what I'm saying is, if right at the beginning of this episode, you didn't believe me that dyslexia can be easy, I want to challenge you to believe that it can be. I want to challenge you to not be taken aback by that statement, to not ignore me and think I'm talking total BS. I want you to think for a second and ask yourself, what would my life look like if dyslexia was easy? Because I'm offering you the opportunity to figure out what your life would look like if dyslexia was easy. And I want to be clear, my story is not special, not unique. I have helped thousands of people with this exact problem, turning dyslexia from this frustration, from this irritation, from this tough thing in their life, to being easy, to getting a promotion, to leaving work on time, to getting out of a tough situation where they thought that they were going to have to leave their job. Whatever it is, I have turned around people's opportunities when it comes to how they're managing their dyslexia. Now, today I just talked about my story, but what I want to be clear about is that my story is not special. This was just about giving you an example of what is possible and what you can achieve and what I wanted for myself. But I have also helped so many people achieve exactly what we are talking about. I've helped people achieve promotions. I've helped people realize that they don't have to leave their job because they're struggling with their dyslexia. And I most enjoy helping people not become best friends with the cleaner and leave work on time. Okay, so this month, for Dyslexia Awareness Month, we are going to be giving you a starter pack on what if dyslexia was easy, on exactly how to achieve that. The key things that are really easy and simple to get started with that we know make a huge difference, that we are helping people with every single day, that jump them forward and help them realize that dyslexia can be easy. And we're giving all of that away completely for free. So for the rest of October, for 5 weeks, we have 5 different topics to help you realize that dyslexia can be easy. First of all, we're going to help you understand exactly what is going on in your brain, understanding dyslexia and all the other neurodiversities that go along with it. Second week, we're going to be talking about one of the most important things you have to understand with dyslexia, which is working memory. And it is shocking that people don't understand what working memory is. Third, we're going to be talking about AI and the ChatGPT technology resources that can make a huge difference for dyslexic people. And then finally, we're going to be talking about burnout and tiredness, which is so impactful for this community. And then lastly, but by far my favorite topic, confidence and dyslexia. If this sounds like all your wishes come true, because remember, it is completely free, then please join us by getting all the details in the link below. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Dyslexia in Adults podcast. Whether or not this is your first listen or your 100th, I am so grateful that you decided to entrust me with this challenge. If you enjoyed this week's episode, I would really appreciate it if you could review and subscribe to the podcast because it really helps us to reach more people.